I want to highlight just one story of so many that I could have chosen, but one story recorded for us in the Word that will help remind us what a beautiful and a powerful thing it can be when we walk in step with each other. But in Luke chapter 1, verse 5, it's a story about two women. They're at complete opposite ends of their life. One woman is a grandma age, probably more accurately, a great-grandma age. She and her husband don't have any children because she wasn't able to have children. And that was a really big deal back then, even more than it is now, to not be able to have children. Her name was Elizabeth. The other woman was actually a young teenager engaged to be married. Her name was Mary. Fun fact, these two women were cousins. So God comes along and he sends an angel to each of these women to tell them, surprise, you're gonna become pregnant and have a baby boy. And each of these baby boys are gonna be pretty important. They're gonna grow up to be really important men with great purposes, and they're gonna do huge things for the kingdom of God. Spoiler alert, Mary's baby is Jesus, the Son of God. So he's the most important. He does the greatest things. But Elizabeth, her baby is John the Baptist, and he gets to prepare the way for Jesus to come. So Elizabeth gets her angel pregnancy announcement first. And when she's 6 months pregnant, that's when Angel Gabriel goes to visit Mary and tell her about her pregnancy announcement and what the fun things God's doing in her life. And so as Angel Gabriel is telling Mary about how she's going to have a baby too, and it's going to be Jesus and the Messiah and the Son of God, he also mentions to her, hey, cousin Elizabeth, she is also pregnant. And Mary was like, what? Because she's cousins and she knows that Elizabeth wasn't able to have kids and she didn't know that this was already happening. And so what I want to highlight for the story here is when Mary finds out about this and Angel Gabriel wraps up his message, she hightails it for her cousin's house. This cousin who is thinking she's wrapping up maybe the end of her life as Mary is just getting started with hers. And she goes, no doubt, to share in the joy and the excitement of Elizabeth finally getting to have a baby and who it's gonna be at the exact same time that Mary is told that she's gonna be pregnant and becomes pregnant with the Son of God. And Elizabeth, as Mary comes into her house, she flings open the door wide and she receives Mary and they celebrate together and there's joy and they're women and they're pregnant, so there's probably a lot of tears also, but it's this beautiful picture that we get to witness. You see that this story isn't only incredible because of the miraculous things that the Lord did in these women's lives and the story that he's telling through using them, but it's an incredible story of being for one another. It's an incredible story of being a cheerleader for one another and what God is doing in somebody else's life and how that doesn't take away what God's doing in my life. This story could have turned out so differently if either one of these women had let jealousy or resentment or bitterness take the place of gratitude or humility or joy for what God was doing in the other one's life as well as their own life. They were celebrating with one another and sharing with one another the plans that God had set before each of them, and as they were now overlapping, and it didn't become about competing with each other. It would have been so easy for either one of them to let their joy be stolen and overshadowed by becoming upset that God's doing this incredible thing in my life, but why did he choose to do something incredible in your life at the exact same time? Finding out that God was doing something in each other's lives, it didn't lessen the significance or the purpose or the calling that God was doing in their life as well. And actually, one could even make the argument that it made it greater. Truly, look at this story. There was even more joy, more support, more encouragement, more of the Lord as their stories, their individual stories, were now intertwined. They were doing it together. See, we don't even have to wait for something to happen to us by one another to become upset or divided. We can do that all on our own. Just simply by how we respond to what God's doing in your life and how I might not like it, or now how I might think or question, God, are you going to do something in my life? What about me? If we let how we feel about what God is doing in each other's lives rule what we think about it, we're missing it. We're going to miss this together piece. It's going to become about all those things like competition or comparison. And it's going to completely steal what God's trying to do. This is the part we have to get right. This together part is vital. Listen to this, apart from our faith in Jesus, this unity piece, this together piece, is what sets us apart from the world. I don't know if you've looked around lately or not. The world isn't exactly united. The world doesn't exactly understand unity. I don't know if you've looked around our community lately or not. Our community isn't exactly united. That is why this is part of God's plan, because he knows how powerful it is and will be for people to see our unity among one another.